Here's something that took me years to learn. Most people aren't broke because of bad luck. They're broke because of bad habits and bad advice. Now that financial advice may have been good 15 or 20 years ago, but not in 2025. So in today's video, I'm going to bring you part 2 of 10 money myths that people still believe in 2025 that may have been good and sound at some point, but are definitely holding you back and maybe making your financial situation even worse. Now these are money myths that are passed down like family recipes, and unless you unlearn them, they can leave you broke forever. Hi, my name's Rob, and up until the age of 47, I was a heavy consumer. Now I managed to turn that around to become a saver and even an investor, and now I'm here with this channel and on a mission to show you can do the same thing for you and your family. Now there is a part 1 of this video. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, but first, here's a money myth that may seem very familiar. Buying a home is always better than renting. How many times have we heard growing up that renting is simply throwing money away? Now in 2025, that's simply not the case. And depending where you live, that's not been the case for a very long time. It could also be a very shrewd financial move. We live in Ontario, Canada, and there are huge markets here. They're inflated beyond all affordability. Renting is sometimes the only option. There are actually many benefits of renting, and you can save a small fortune. You're not paying maintenance, property tax, or even housing insurance. All those extra costs that you're not responsible for can be taken and invested, and you can build wealth while you work. Just replacing a roof can cost you anywhere between $8,000 and $15,000. Replacing a furnace could be $4,000 to $6,000. These are huge costs that you're on the hook for if you have a mortgage and you're not renting. And when they come out of the blue, they can knock you for six. Now, I personally believe in home ownership, and I've taken it a step further and actually put together a portfolio of investment properties, and I love doing renovations, as you can see. But home ownership is not right for everybody, and the rental market could be perfect for you. Don't buy into that old age myth that home ownership is the only sign of success. There are far more asset classes that you can invest into. This one may not be the one for you. Saving money makes you rich. Okay, saving money is very important, but saving money by itself won't make you wealthy. One of the biggest issues of just saving money in a bank is inflation. It will eat away at that value. Bank savings accounts are notorious for giving you low interest. And if inflation is above that interest, you're slowly eroding away over time. In just 10 years' time, after all that inflation compounding on your savings, it's going to be worth far less than it was before. There's simply no way around it. To protect your savings, to protect your principal, you have to invest it. It has to be invested to grow and build wealth. You can invest it into stocks and bonds, an ETF, real estate, even a business. As long as it's an asset that's growing, your money will grow too. Saving money is a brilliant habit and an excellent start, but it's just the first step. By keeping it in a bank, you're eventually going to lose all that purchasing power. Take your savings, invest it into an asset that you're comfortable with, and watch it grow. Working hard is great, it's noble, but in 2025, it's not going to get you rich or wealthy. You can work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You can juggle 3 or 4 jobs. You can work until you're exhausted, but working hard is not working smart. And from my own experience, working hard for 25 years and not saving a dime and never even investing, you're just going to have burnout and an empty bank account. And as I eventually worked out, the key is not working hard, it's working smart. Getting yourself educated on personal finances and knowing what you need to do. Learn high-value skills for education. Learn how to invest that money to build wealth, and network with people that are wealthier and smarter than you. By associating with people that are going in the same direction as you are, or maybe even at the destination you want to be, you're going to get there quicker, faster, and smarter. Now, don't get me wrong, hard work and effort matters. I started at 7 o'clock this morning, and currently it's 9:30 p.m. But direction matters more. Know where you're going and follow a smart path. And if you're not sure how to do that, find people that will show you. A high credit score means you're good with money. Now, this is not always the case. Sometimes a high credit score means you're good at borrowing money and not building wealth. I mean, think about it. You can have a high-income job, earning $100,000 a year, having a credit score of 820, and still be living paycheck to paycheck because you're caught in the consumer trap. I was exactly in this position at 47 years old, with no emergency fund, very little savings, and I hadn't invested a single dollar. I personally don't track my credit score. It doesn't really have much importance to me. I'd rather be building assets and reducing my liabilities, and this for me is a better financial goal. Repeat after me. Credit is a tool. Use it as such. It's not a trophy. You should always help family financially, no matter what. Okay, this is a tough one. We always want to help the ones we love, but sometimes we have to draw a line. Some family members, and even good friends, will remain broke and continue bad habits because you're constantly bailing them out. And I agree, it's tough to say no. It's far easier to say yes. It comes from a place of love, and you want to help out in any way you can. But one of the things I've found over the years, and it may be the same case for you, is it comes from a place of guilt. And by doing it, you're perpetuating that cycle. You may find it's better to stop the financial bailouts, rip off the band-aid and try and help them on a fundamental level. Find out what the cause is. And I'm sure you agree, there's many ways you can help family members that need it that doesn't involve money. And one piece of valuable advice I would offer, as somebody who's standing outside, if it's causing you financial stress or resentment, it's probably something you need to stop. Money is a great financial tool, and it can literally give you financial freedom for you and your family. But there are also bad ways to use it as well. But I'm sure you've experienced it at least one time in your life. Money can cause problems too, and we need to be wary of that. Frugality is the only way to build wealth. Now, I would consider myself to be a frugal person. Maybe not 5 years ago, but certainly these days. Being frugal and frugal-minded certainly opens up your eyes to how much money we waste on a daily basis. And while I would say being frugal is important, certainly while you're building wealth, it's not the be-all and end-all. Put it like this. Saving your coffee each day, cutting your own lawn and washing windows will save you money, and you can put that money to good use by investing it. But it takes up time. Now, there is an argument that I believe in that you can take that time and make far more money by being productive than trying to save it. There's only so much money you can save from making sacrifices, but you have unlimited potential to make money. So maybe what we need to do here is get a balance. Cut down on your expenses, maybe make a coffee at home instead of going to Starbucks and paying $7 for one, but use your time productively. Maybe pay someone $20 an hour to cut your lawn and use that time to go and make more than $20 an hour. Be frugal, but to a point. Take that money you save and invest it, but don't take all your time. Use that time to increase your income. Frugality without earning power is like trying to bail out a boat without plugging the hole. Doesn't make sense. You need to retire at 65. This is so outdated for 2025 and simply not the case pretty much for anybody these days. Most statistics show that even when people reach retirement age, they continue to work. Even if people retire early because they're financially independent, the striking thing for me, and exciting, is there seems to be more and more people working towards being financially independent rather than being retired. That's exactly what I'm doing myself. I'm not the type to go read a book on the beach, go driving on a Sunday morning in my Corvette, or go play golf. But the idea of being financially independent, never have to worry about a bill or a mortgage payment again, and continue to work on my own terms is very exciting. And it's exactly what I'm doing in my life. Instead of being retired, I'll be financially independent. And I'll continue acquiring properties and doing renovations like this because I love to do it. So don't feel you need to conform to the idea of retirement. Find out what works for you and define that on your terms. And as you get older, you may find, like me, that purpose, flexibility become far more important. The stock market is basically gambling. Okay, it's not. But I heard this a lot growing up. I was warned to stay away from it. Now, there's certainly a lot of so-called investments out there that are touted as the next big thing. Meme coins, meme stocks. Do you remember meme tokens? But investing in time-tested blue-chip stocks, precious metals, and ETFs are definitely not gambling. When I started investing at 47, I did my own research. I discovered the S&P 500 from the past 90 years gave an average return of 9 to 10%. You can't argue with that, but you're guaranteed somebody will. At the fundamental level, this is long-term wealth creation. And I would argue the real gamble is not investing at all and relying on a pension and your savings. Buying a new car is smart because it's safer and more reliable. I did a video about cars a few months ago about being the biggest silent wealth killers. You should go watch it. I'm going to leave a link down below. Buying a brand new car, unless you're financially independent or you have a big budget to do so, is crazy. As soon as you drive it off the lot, you're going to lose a large portion of that value. It depreciates the second you drive it off. By its very definition, it's a depreciating liability, and wealthy people generally stay away from those. But the vast majority of people, buying a brand new car means long-term payment plan and higher insurance. It may feel good driving that car, and you may feel successful, but it's actually a financial trap, and it's designed to keep you trapped for a long time to come. Unless you can afford to pay for it cash and still feed your kids, it's probably not a great idea. You need to hit it big to become wealthy. This is a crazy myth, and it's been perpetuated for decades. People say you need to have a six-figure income, you need to have a viral business, or you need to win the lottery to become wealthy. But it's simply not a fact, and so far from the truth. Most millionaires in the US are self-made and have built their wealth slowly over time. Consistent investing over time, smart money management, and avoiding lifestyle creep. This will win every single time. This myth has been around for decades, and growing up, I firmly believed it. It wasn't until I started reading books like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich that I realized that wealth is built over time by consistency and smart decisions. By repeating that process and learning from your mistakes, you're guaranteed to build wealth eventually. So most of us don't fail financially because of lack of effort. We fail because of what we believe about money. These myths get passed down and they seem harmless, but they completely shape our idea of money, what to do with it, and how we learn about it. And quite often they're passed down with good intention and from personal experience. But in 2025, most of these myths no longer apply. In fact, in my experience, all these myths held me back until in my mid-40s I started to change my ideas and my thoughts about money. And if we're going to thrive in 2025, we need to know what works and maybe unlearn what doesn't work. And for you, on your journey, perhaps this is your first step to your financial independence. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you got some value. Perhaps give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, maybe even share the video. And I'm going to see you on the next one.